Mic check. Works.
There you go. There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, February 16, 2023 at 7 p.m. Welcome to the Village of Vernon Village Board meeting. I will call the Village Board to order with, well, first I need to read aloud. The Village Board did have a special Village Board meeting scheduled for 4 p.m. on Thursday. That's today, February 16, 2023, and was scheduled to convene into closed session as stated in the meeting notice. Agenda for that meeting. So now I will call the Village Board meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. A roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Fortner.
Present.
Trustee Slani. Present. Trustee DeGrave.
Present.
Trustee Newman.
Present.
Trustee Dashik. This meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you. Now I need to announce the closed session consideration of possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin statutes 19.85 1G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. More specifically, case number 2020CV001233, Scenic Ridge of Big Bend Homeowners Association, Inc. versus Village of Vernon. In closed session will be the Village of Vernon Board of Trustees, Village Administrator Clerk, and Village Attorney. Motion will require a roll call vote. No action will be taken in closed session. Next up is public comments. We have no public physically present on this very snowy Thursday evening. We'll get right into our agenda items. The first item is the CSM for Kenneth and Deborah Lang. This item was tabled at our joint plan and board, Plan Commission and board meeting last week, Wednesday. For further information, we did have a staff meeting this afternoon where we talked about this item at staff with the village attorney, and it's back on the agenda as tabled pursuant to the motion at that joint Plan Commission and village board meeting. And I will try to get things moving along here. We've discussed this quite a bit, both at the staff meeting this afternoon and also at the Plan Commission meeting. So I will make a motion to deny the certified survey map for the Kenneth and Deborah Lang for the property located at W223S9880 Big Bend Drive, VNT 211-398-3012, because the existing zoning of the property does not allow the requested density, and the comprehensive plan future land use map does not allow consideration of a rezoning to a district that allows the required density, the requested densities pursuant to the Village of Vernon Plan Commission's recommendation. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. I gave a little bit of a discussion, teeing this item up. You'll notice in the, you should note in the attorney comments or attorney memo that the certified survey map as submitted does not meet the requirements of both the village comprehensive plan and the zoning code, and it must be denied under the law. And the reasons for denial need to be in the motion, which they are. And again, we discussed it at length. Any further discussion by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is a proposal from Johnson Block for accounting services. Administrator Calder, you can tee this one up.
Just so you know, we've been having, not issues, but just with the transition, everything, not everybody's been trained properly on the current software. So I reached out to Johnson Block and several other firms, including our old auditor, Howard Jensen, and none of them send me back any proposals or quotes for services. What we're looking Johnson Block to come in and do is help with reconciliations for November, starting in November of 2022 through June of 23. Then in July of 23, we'll be starting with Workhorse, the new software is part of Workhorse, the reconciliation process, and that will be part of the training. One of the things that Johnson Block will do as part of their proposal is assist with training our current treasurer and staff on the reconciliation process, and then that will help with that, and once Workhorse comes on, that will complete the process. So what we're looking for that is to do that, assist with that.
And so you received a proposal, I know. I've talked to our old auditor, Mr. Jeanson, about maybe helping us out, and I think you did too, and he declined.
Yep.
He would have been my first choice simply because he's most familiar with it. He's done it year over year. I know last year we had a large degree of difficulty getting our books closed, and he helped us do that last year. And we did have a special bill for that too, because that was way in excess of his scope of his services. Johnson Block, I know, did respond to our RFP for an auditor, and as I remember our discussion, I think they placed second. And in some people's mind, maybe first, but overall, I think second. So I think at that time, I thought they were a firm. I did talk to the engagement partner, who would have been in charge of the audit and also in charge of this proposal, and over the telephone, and I was, happy with her. Brad, you've worked with Johnson Block in the past.
Yep, I worked with Johnson Block. They were second here. They do good work. I have no complaints or issues with them. Besides Howard, I reached out to another auditing firm, Herbert Rose, who does a lot of municipal audits, and due to them being busy with audits and some staffing changes, things like that, they weren't able to bid on it. But the price here that Johnson Block has quoted us is really a good price in terms of what's there at the end of the day. So it is, I think, very reasonable for what we're asking. We do have the funds available. We did budget for that extra office staff person, which there'll be funds available for that. And then I'm trying to think if there were some other places we had some funds, but with what we have here, we should be good. A lot of this stuff will be hopefully be done remotely. So they don't, we don't have a lot of travel expenses or anything like that at the end of the day. That will add up. So, like I said, I'm recommending it. It's the only one I get a hold of. I've been working on this since like the first of the year. So it's been that hard to get people to get us stuff.
Questions and discussions? I think you covered it, Brad. That was a couple of my questions is if it was going to be done remote or how much was going to be remote. You've answered that. For travel expenses, like you said, and how many other firms that you reached out to. I know we reached out to many when we went out for RFPs for our auditor. Only came back with 3.
Right.
So it's no surprise. Everybody's busy. And it's audit time.
Well, this is the time of year that they're the busiest, I would think.
Right. And I hope with the training in here, the built-in training that you've got, that our staff can be trained up, including our treasurer, so that these kind of costs are not annual costs, but, we'll be able to do this accounting work and close out our books pretty much on our own, as opposed to hiring outside accounting.
With their training, do they include documentation
Of the training.
of the training, right? I didn't see that,
There
but
won't necessarily be like a certificate or anything they give to say that X went through this training, but what kind of in talking through with them this, what they'll do is they'll get November and December done. So we get the books closed out and the audit can happen. And then what they'll do is they'll kind of progress month by month with the training. And so progressively every month try to pass along more and more work to the treasurer of the reconciliation process, so that they're not consistently doing the same thing over and over again and the treasurer's not picking up. The goal is to teach the process, and then, you know, hopefully by the time they're done or part of the way through, they're done with everything.
Yeah, I kind of understood that, or that was my impression, but I'm concerned that these are part-time positions and the people aren't necessarily long-term. I don't know, but how do we perpetuate the training if we
Yeah.
don't have written?
Yeah, so, and I think that's one of the things that, as we go through, as we get the new software, I've already been able to get good, manuals on, like, pictures with manuals on how to do, like, payroll and other stuff. Procedures, yeah, and we'll have to tailor those a little bit to how we are, cause how those are written are for another community, so it's just kind of plugging and playing, tweaking to get where we are, but the same thing for reconciliation process. Once we get to Workhorse, Workhorse is a good manual to start with, but, like screenshots of what you're doing can go a long way instead of, trying to determine, so, once we get there, I would think, as we get working with software, that would be key to getting something like that so that somebody can sit down and do it. The manuals that I'm talking about on the payroll side, they're fairly simple, or I know they've been written good enough, because I've used, the person I wrote, utility one, never used utility module in Workhorse, took it, you're able to do utilities without getting any assistance or anything from Workhorse, so, payroll will be the same, so, to me, it's, as we go through the process, that's what we need at the end of the day. So,
At least he's smiling. Warm up a little bit. We have a motion.
It's nice and warm. Just not easy driving on these roads.
We'll get to you in a minute, Deputy Hollingsworth. Any other questions, or otherwise I'd be looking for a motion to accept and authorize the village president to sign the proposal from Johnson Block for accounting services.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Dashik. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are on to correspondence, announcements, and report. Deputy Hollingsworth with the Sheriff's Department is here. You have anything for us?
No,
Other than the roads the roads are treacherous,
yes.
and the snow is continuing to come down.
We have a question for him.
Oh, yeah, we do have a question for him about, yeah, the citations.
So, earlier today, we had a meeting. When there's a sheriff's squad in the village that isn't the Vernon squad, and they write a citation, is that written and sent to
The county,
the county?
I'm the only one writing Vernon citations unless there's other squads working around me and I'll ask them to. But, normally, no, I'm the only one that's writing the Vernon citations.
As an option, can that be changed so that everybody writes Vernon?
No.
Ah, well, there's my answer. I don't like that answer, by the way, but
Yeah, it's in the contract, the contract squad writes citations. That's the way for all the contracts that we have in the county.
okay.
I've asked some of my coworkers to do it, and they'll do it occasionally, but it's commonly not done.
Interesting. Because we have that issue with Norris School about, would you write a ticket down there at Norris? That goes to the muni court,
Yeah, they don't want them anymore.
and they don't want that.
Now I have to send them off to county juvenile court.
Right, we talked about that this afternoon, too, to just have you write them and send them to
Just for
Circuit
Norris.
Court, just for Norris.
Yeah, all the Norris juvenile citation, actually, I guess all the juvenile citations, and I'm gonna be writing from now on again to go to county, to the juvenile center.
Not just Norris, all of them is what you
Yeah.
want.
Because I believe the village attorney doesn't wanna deal with the juvenile issues, because juvenile law is a lot different than adult.
I guess it makes sense from a standpoint to a degree, you know, what Attorney Macy was saying is our staff in his office aren't available after hours anyhow,
I would,
but during the day they would be.
yeah, I mean, I would think any of our juvenile stuff that's written could go to, depending on the type of citation, could be sent to North Prairie to be handled. I think Norris is a different type of,
Yeah, they have the problem of not being able to transport them to the,
there's different factors that play in
right?
than any of our other, stuff.
Yeah, so at staff, we talked about it, Deputy Hollingsworth, and we came out of staff without a motion, but just it was for discussion to put on a future board meeting to get that clarified with the county by motion, so we're gonna do that. Maybe you've already started, but,
Yeah, I've already been told not to write any more juvenile citations. Any more DC citations, disorderly conduct citations are all gonna go to the county.
what about traffic?
No, traffic still goes up there.
Okay.
Traffic's completely different from, non-traffic citations.
Okay, so it's just non-traffic, okay,
Traffic
right.
is the only thing that's
right,
going to juvenile court.
right.
Because the bulk of my citations actually, I would say are for 16, 17-year-old drivers.
Traffic.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go to municipal court. Yep, okay. Any other issues? Stay safe, stay out of the ditch. Hopefully the whole board can too.
There'll be food for you on Tuesday.
Oh, that's right, I'm at Big Bend Elementary all day on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
There'll be lunch for you.
What kind of food?
Something. Whatever else is there.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Phil, I'll keep mine short, our attorney's here to go into closed session, but speaking of the election, Friday's the last day to in-person voting here. I think Brad will give you more details. No voting in person Monday, so get your absentee ballots in. No mail on Monday. So I would suggest drop them off Friday or Monday. The office is open Monday till 3:30. Drop off your ballots. Everybody needs to turn in their own. And that's been a rule since last year, I guess. So you can't bring your family members in with you. They need to come in. In person, of course, election is mentioned Tuesday, Big Bend Elementary School. So otherwise, I have nothing further to report tonight. Trustee Swanee, you got any?
No, sir.
Trustee DeGrave? Trustee Newman? Nope. So stay safe if you're driving. Don't drive if you have to. Mr. Calder?
Crews have been out all day snow plowing, so we going back out here tonight to get everything cleaned up, so everything's good for the morning and get out there before it freezes. Deputy Hollingsworth will be at the school all day per their request. He'll be kind of walking the halls and hanging out with the kids at lunch and that kind of stuff, more as a safety precaution. I guess it was part of the school district's request that when we had it there, and it was made known to us like 2 weeks ago, so we've been working with the sheriff's department to get that scheduled, so, Deputy Hollingsworth will be there on Tuesday, during the school day. We will be having it in the music room, which is right off the gym as you come in those north doors off the gym, it's gonna be right to your right. So it'll be right there, if you come during drop-off or pickup time, there may be a little bit more congestion, so if you wanna avoid it, either come before, or come during the day, or come after. So, we will have that, so,
Avoid 8:30, give or take, and avoid, what, 3:30?
about 8 to 8:30, I think, and like 3:30 to 4 o'clock, probably. So, and we're, probably looking at turnout somewhere between 25% and 30%, so. I think we've already had probably 600 ballots issued, I think, maybe, is where we're at. That's all that I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Finances, we're all the way to accounts payable, February 2nd. No, accounts payable, that's not right. It should be February 15th on the agenda, but batch number 2023-0216, actually it should be the 16th. And the amount of 73,733.35.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Is there a second? Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-1. Manual checks, there aren't any. Tax settlement checks are coming.
So I'm gonna check, so manual checks next week on refund at that special board meeting.
Oh, and tax refunds to residents.
We didn't have time to get the copy of the payment check that you guys wanna see, so, I didn't wanna bring it forward without that stuff, based upon the conversation last time, so we'll have that, and that'll take care of all our payment checks and everything related to that.
Okay. Next item up is the village board minutes. January 19, 2023 was in our packet. I did have one typo on the last page, which I think Administrator Calder has already made that change. The word, I think, corrected on the very top of the very last page. Trustee Solani's motion. That's the only thing I saw. So with that correction, I'll make a motion to approve the January 19, 2023 minutes as corrected for the village board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The February 2nd and 8th meeting minutes are not yet finished, so I'll make a motion to table the February 2nd and February 8th minutes until our next board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Second a table. Okay, all in favor, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, village meeting dates are March 2nd. These are regular board meetings. March 2nd, village board, March 16th, village board. In between there, we do have a plan commission meeting. If there's things for the agenda I haven't heard. So that would be March 8th, if there is one. I don't think that's going to be joint. That's just plan commission.
Shouldn't be joint, I don't,
Should not be joint, right? No.
no, I don't know if we have anything, as of right now, I don't think we have anything.
Right, and next week we will be, for the benefit of the residents, going into closed session. We had interviews scheduled for hiring a new DPW director, which were postponed this week, or today, actually, due to the snow, and these gentlemen are working, as we might expect, as were our employees working well past their regular business hours. So with that, I will make a motion to go into executive session, closed session, as I read earlier and as printed on the agenda. It will, the motion will require a roll call vote. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
President Fortner,
Yes.
trustee Solani,
Yes.
trustee Grave,
Yes.
trustee Newman. Yes. Trustee Dashik.
Yes.
Thank you. We will go into closed session. We'll go off of YouTube, just for the benefit of the public. No action will be taken in closed session. If we reconvene, any action will be taken open session after we reconvene, although at this point, we're not necessarily anticipating any action to be taken. With that, we'll go to closed session.